Welcome to the Audacity to Age, where becoming never gets old. I'm Kristie Crenshaw, and this is a place for women who believe life's most meaningful chapters aren't behind them, they're being written right now. Together, we'll explore the stories, lessons learned, reinventions, and unexpected joys that come with life after 50. Together, we'll challenge old thinking, embrace new possibilities, and discover what it means to age with purpose, curiosity, originality, and verve. So grab your coffee, lace up your walking shoes, or settle into your favorite chair. This is the Audacity to Age. This conversation with Carol Turner was wonderful and so meaningful for me. We discussed finding her heavenly father early on, learning how to eat vegan, which I still don't understand because I'm a beef girl, and clean, which I do understand, homeschooling her children, and making the world their classroom, and her amazing journey to creating the Junior Cookery School. Have a listen.
I'm beyond excited to have you here with me today, Carol. And before you introduce who you are, I just want to let people know that you actually are the reason that I decided to do this podcast in the first place. So we can touch on that later, but I adore you, and you just led an amazing example for me and for many other women, I'm sure, who see you and don't say anything. So let's tell everyone who you are. Who is Carol Turner?
Okay. I am 51 years old. I am a wife of 20 years, mother of 3 teenagers, still teenagers. Gabe
Your
is.
family's beautiful, by the way. Just postcard gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Gabriel is 19 now. He's studying industrial engineering at UC Berkeley in California. So he is 1,982 miles away.
Exactly.
Okay.
Give or take.
Exact. Jude will be leaving us next in the fall. He will be going to Emory University to study. He's going to be pre-med there. So he's on his way, doing great. Sarah Kate, my 16-year-old, is vying for a spot at the Gatton Academy of Math and Science in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So she will be notified within the next week or two if she gets an in for that, which means that she will be leaving us 2 years early, which means I will be an empty nester 2 years before I thought I was going to be.
Okay, your kids are awesome. Let's come back to you.
Yeah.
Who is Carol? I want to know who Carol is.
They're a major part of my life. So yes,
Sure.
I think that for me, that's it. I decided a while back that I love food. And so I decided to become a chef. So in the midst of that, I went to Le Cordon Bleu in London. I became a chef. I was 46 when I did that. And then I'm a wife of 20 years, and I'm a golden retriever mom too. So I'm a dog mom. A huge part of my identity the last 20 years has been the children, has been the kids, has been the family. I am a mom. I am the mom to all. I was the mom at culinary school. It's just been that I've loved that part of my identity.
And please don't, I had no intention to discount
Yeah.
the mother title. So please don't take any offense to that. I
No.
was not blessed with children myself, and so I admire that in women. I literally don't know how you do all the things you do. And when I say you, all the moms out there in general, not just Carol, but it's a massive undertaking. As the youngest of 6, I watched my mother do that.
I have many friends who were not blessed with children. Some of my very dearest, nearest, best friends, some of them who were not blessed with children, and their identities become their jobs or maybe their husbands or what they do, what they volunteer in, what they love. And so I think for me, it has been me. I'm a Christian woman who is a mom who has evolved into, throughout the years, just being a caretaker, being a homemaker. Hospitality has been my number one from the beginning. I started out in my early years as we waited tables, and then it just kind of went on from there. It's just who I am.
I think everyone should wait tables at least once in their life. I think you learn a lot about people and yourself in that environment, and I certainly did my fair share. Let's go back to, since we're strolling through the ages, up to your now 50 plus chapter of your life. Let's look at your 20s. When you do the review of your life and you think about your 20s, What is the big lesson for you there, or the big takeaway from your 20s that you would impart on other 20 somethings to maybe give them a leg up and help them out along the way?
Yeah. Let's see. I think my 20s were fairly successful. I had, despite a few mishaps, I had a wonderful education, but I think I was a late bloomer,
Mhm.
probably spiritually, emotionally. I started out my career in Nashville, Tennessee as the director of marketing for the Nashville Ballet. And that was a baptism by fire sort of situation. From there, I was a project manager at Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and I fell in love with special events, and that took me to Churchill Downs, which took me to meeting my husband from there on. But to answer your question, to just go back to like the biggest takeaway from my 20s was that that God, my heavenly father, became my actual father.
Can we just pause for a second? Because this is the thing that took me a long time to really dial into. And I think it is so necessary in this current age that we're living in, where I think identity is a huge issue for a lot of youth. And they're looking for a lot of outside things to give them value, to give them worth. And nothing on this earth is going to do that. It's our creator. So continue.
To explain that, my parents got divorced early. I was maybe 10 years old. So whenever I say stunted, maybe spiritually, I was always an overachiever. So I did great educationally. But then the other part was just that my dad, he left, he moved away. When I say that my heavenly father became my father, just my earthly father wasn't there. He moved away to Atlanta. There's no way to really connect there. There's no way to drive to events, to grab lunch, to catch up, to
Right.
really connect. Unfortunately, it happened in my teenage years where you need your dad the most, where and so I was a little bit textbook through my 20s, that kind of textbook trying to find a father in my life.
So how did you get there? Like, how did you understand that looking at your Heavenly Father was the thing to do for you? That was the right answer. Because I certainly didn't make that definitive connection of earthly father and heavenly father, completely different things,
Yeah.
until much later in life.
Yeah, we were church kids and in church all of the time. So for a long time I was a believer, but
Mhm.
not a follower, and I didn't really understand the difference. I
Right.
started reading quite a lot, and I think that being in the church so much, and I was baptized early, so I do believe that he did live inside of me. He did speak into my life, and he was constantly speaking into my life, constantly taking care of me, constantly guiding me, constantly saving me, constantly protecting me. Once I came to the end of myself, it was that part of your life. You're just going, working, striving to do all these things, to do all the earthly things that we're supposed to be doing. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, I am so empty. I feel so alone.
You said something just then. You said, when I came to the end of myself.
Yeah.
That is a mind-blowing concept, because this whole world, and which I was very much a part of and still am and struggle with daily, is very self-focused. Self-care, self-love, self whatever. And that's not being connected to the
Yeah.
creator when it's all about me.
And I really think that your 20s are a lot about you, a lot about get out there, get yourself going. You're on your own, you're away from your parents. And yeah, it is a very me centered decade. I don't blame anybody for that.
Sure.
But then at the end of it, close to the end of it, I was like, wow, I'm really lonely. And I just, one day, I've been going to Southeast Christian Church with my mom. That's where my mom went to church. And we had been members there since, I think, 1994. And I just would go to the library there, I would grab books,
Yeah.
buy books, and just go home and read them in between. And I just read and read, and all these things just started oh, wow, okay. And then all of a sudden, one day, I just fell. I just started crying, and I just fell to my knees, fell on my face, started crying. And that it was an entire evening where I just needed to just give myself to the Lord. And whenever I gave myself completely to the Lord that night, it was like I finally knew who I was. It was like He showed me, I don't know, it was like I gave myself completely. I knew what my identity was. I knew that he had protected me, comforted me, saved me, protected me so many times. And I was like, oh, wow, you really did all that for me. My earthly dad wasn't here to do that for me, but you did that all along. And now I'm here just because of you. Alive, healthy, safe, protected, well taken care of because of you. No other reason but you. I gave my life to him so completely that I knew my identity from there on. I knew who I was, who I belonged to, and I've never looked back.
You've always struck me as like from the very first time I met you, how many ever years ago, like almost 20, I think, or 15. But
Yeah.
your presence when you walk in a room is that of a woman who knows who she is. And that you draw people to you. You drew me to you. I know that you draw people to you. That's part of who you are. And it's that knowing, that very grounded, calm centeredness that is so appealing. And yet it's so elusive for many people. And for some, we struggle with it daily. For others, it's, and that decision no longer has to be contemplated.
Yeah.
And that there's freedom in that. There's freedom in that.
There is freedom in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's for me, just knowing that I'm loved like that
Yeah.
was everything. Knowing my identity was everything. And I didn't, not that I didn't continue to think about and struggle with my parents' divorce and the hurt that brings being married and having children and all the things that bubble up after that. Because, okay, so that's a wonderful revelation. Wonderful. Yes, you figure out your identity. But then life continues to happen and lots of things just keep coming up throughout your 30s, throughout your 40s.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, they do.
Yes. So, yeah, your identity. So, hopefully, yes, that will continue to carry forward that identity, that strong identity. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be like, okay, that was great. Now I'm perfect.
It's daily. It's a daily.
Exactly.
So then, how old were you when you and Clay got married?
I was 30 years old, a few days shy of becoming
Okay.
31. So yeah, throughout, so I spent my 20s really figuring out my life and figuring out, because during that time, I didn't know that I was going to get married. I didn't know that I wanted children. I thought, oh gosh, if I don't want to be divorced, I don't want to bring children into a divorced marriage, and I don't want to do all of those things. So I really learned, and I was learning how to be a wife. So I bought a lot of books about how to become a wife. What does that mean? And then
I love that. I love that. So this is a perfect segue of moving into your 30s because this is where you took on that new role of wife and soon mother. Let's dig into the 30s and what that meant for you. What were your primary focuses then? I think we know what it is, but let's hear about your personal experience with that.
okay, so I met and married Clay. I was 30 years old, and soon after, it was Gabriel was born when I was 31. Jude was born when I was 32, and then Sarah Kate was born when I was 35. So we didn't waste any time.
Yeah.
I thought many of my friends had a lot of trouble having babies.
Sure.
We thought, let's go ahead and try and not wait. And so we just went ahead, and I was very blessed that I was able to have children. I had intrauterine growth restriction for all three of them. So they were all tiny babies. So they were all miracles too. So they're all miracles, no matter whether you're trying to,
They are.
trying to have them or not. It's just unbelievable. But I spent the better part of my 30s just in a state of, I was knee deep in taking care of babies. So in a state of clean, unclean, bathed, unbathed, completely exhausted most of the time. I was be up at 1 o'clock in the morning, either having some time to myself or just finishing up laundry. So that's just the way it is. But then after Sarah Kate was born, about a year after that, I was at the Y, and I was taking a yoga class. I couldn't get the baby weight off at all. It was terrible. And then when right after class, I met a mutual friend of ours. I met a lady named Natalie Officer. So she comes up to me. She says, "Oh, She was like, do I know you from IU? And I said, no. And then we just end up, how she is,
Sure.
striking a conversation instantly. And she was telling me about this program that she was doing, that it was called by Dr. Joel Thurman, and it was Eat to Live. And she had gone and she looked fantastic. The woman looked fantastic. I was like, okay, whatever you're doing, I'm going to do. And being a type A that I am, I just go full force into whatever it is. I went home, I looked it up, and I became a vegan right then and there. Changed the way we eat in our home forever. I did it for 3 years. After that, I had to stop because I needed more protein. But I learned how to eat. I learned how to eat. What is the lesson of my 30s? We learned how to eat. We learned about food. And then so that trajectory kind of continued on through the 40s and now to where we are today because of the chef thing. So taking all of the food away and just living a very clean life. No salt, no sugar, no caffeine. I learned how my body reacted to no meat, fats, to dairies, to all the different stimulants, the sugars, the salts, the caffeines. Taking all that away, I learned what a body was supposed to feel like without inflammation. It taught me so much about food. I taught my family about food. We talked about eating locally, eating clean, eating organic, eating fresh, and keeping in the area. It was fantastic education.
And your children being as young as they were during that time, I guess it was much easier for them to adopt that same methodology of eating because they didn't know any different. They didn't have their hardwired habits like most adults have at some point.
Exactly. So instead of doing snacks, we did a platter of crudité. We just said, okay, we're going to do fresh veggies. So to this very day, they love raw veggies more than cooked veggies. So they would eat raw all the time. And it was fantastic. My family was like, are you kidding me with this? I was like, perfect. Are you kidding me? They're eating so well. Learning, their taste buds are just like brightening up. They're learning about different foods. They're just trying new fruits and vegetables all the time. We were really learning about what you put in your body is what comes out. And so we learned all about, it was a fantastic time because it led to the 40s, but it was all about fueling our brains, our hearts and our brains, our minds, because that's part of taking care of ourselves. It's part of our spiritual life. It's everything.
There's a quote that I remember from a trainer that I worked with in Houston once who said, you need to stop looking at your food as entertainment and look at it as fuel. Because I think, especially in this world today, we're always looking for the next big dopamine hit. We want everything to entertain us, from everything we consume, from our books to our movies to our music, and now our food has to be so entertaining. And we cook probably 98% of the meals that we eat here. And I love that. I'm not as good as you. I will learn some new things, but I've learned how certain spices react with certain vegetables and certain heat, and just learning how to cook some of the basics, which it's because you introduced raw vegetables so much to your children. That's the baseline knowledge. There are a lot of people who have never eaten a raw vegetable. They refuse to eat leafy greens at all. They have no idea what a smorgasbord of flavors are out there. And I'm amazed constantly at how the cooking of an onion, the way you slice it, the type of heat, that changes the way that it reacts with the food and the flavor it brings. It's incredible. So that's just one vegetable of everything that's out there. And I'm geeking out a little bit because I grew my first garden last year, ever.
Yeah.
Last year was just an experiment. It was like, if something grows and we eat it, success. And so that did happen. But now I want to know more. I want to learn more about how to plant things the right way and when to harvest the right way and how to cook the right way.
That might be my next thing because this thumb is not great. It's just absolutely terrible. Oh, so that might be a next thing to do. Maybe this summer, maybe if the kids do leave, I'll become a gardener.
Start with herbs. Just start a quick little herb kitchen garden that you can incorporate, because I think even the most basic meal, if you sprinkle fresh chopped herbs on it, gives it more color, gives it more flavor and aromatics, and it just makes it elevates it. It elevates a simple plate. So that's
It does. You're
that's my
absolutely
take.
right. You're right. So that's it. That is my lesson from my 30s. It was just, we learned about food and really learned about food, and that God appointment with Natalie, it's one thing I've told my kids all the time. I was like, everybody you meet is a God appointment. So it was a wonderful conversation that shaped our life and our future, and the future, unbeknownst to us, or our trajectory. It was wonderful.
And so I'm imagining then your 40s were pretty much locked into the raising and development of those children.
So the first few years of their life, of their young life, I homeschooled. I decided to just homeschool them through pre-K and kindergarten. They were home with me, and I loved it. I taught them how to read. I taught them their first math and how to read. That will be on my epitaph forever. She taught them how to read. Every first letter, syllable. It was
a great gift.
Wonderful. I'll never get over it. Never get over it.
And the way that you bond with your children in that foundational learning phase has got to be incredible, because it's obvious to me as an outsider looking in that your children love you. It's obvious. I could see that.
That was a great gift. And that was something that I really cherished and I took very seriously. I took it on as the same as being vegan. I just went straight in and just said, okay, let's go. I'm going to just do this. And I just became their teacher, and it was fantastic. But then I put them on into school. They went on into school at Highlands Latin School. And from there,
what grade did they typically go in for you?
So the boys went in first grade, and then Sarah Kate went on in kindergarten because they were it was just harder and harder to get them in at that time. So they said, oh, Carol, come on, it's only 2 days a week. So I said, okay, fine, I'll let her go. So she went on early, and then and that was fine. But I did teach her how to read at home in pre-K. She was a fantastic kid. And then so I just went on and I volunteered a lot at their school. And then I was homework mom when they got home and made dinner every night, and I did all the things. But most of our life was I was very focused academically, just here at home. That's a lot of what we did. I figured out early that they all learned how to read when they were 4.5. It's crazy. They seemed like they were on it. And I thought, oh, I have some pretty gifted kids. So I felt really responsible that God gave me these little sponges. And I thought, I've really got to shepherd this gift. And so we were pretty on it with our studies. And so they learned how to study really well here at home. And I gave them a foundation of we were here at the table, at this very table that we're sitting at every single day. And we studied and we quizzed, and that's what we did for years and years until they were ready to be on their own. And then they were on their own. And then now they're where they're going. So
what would you say is that overarching theme or the takeaway from your 40s?
Okay, so the arching theme is the importance of education and preparation. So for us, from that Highlands Latin School experience, the Highlands Latin School experience is the Greeks and the Romans and Latin, the gods.
How did that affect you though, independently? And I know that you're a mother and your children that's a huge part, but how did doing that impact you as a woman, as an individual?
So what happened there was, since we were talking about the Romans, we went to Rome. So then we decided to start traveling as a family. And that the preparation and the education. So that was the overarching theme. So then we traveled since I had these little sponges, then we would go to the Vatican. Our guides were just like, where do these kids go to school? This is incredible. They would go into the Vatican or go into different museums all over the world and then just go, oh, they would look at statues or they would look at paintings. Oh, I have seen that before. This symbolizes that, or that says this or that. And where are you? As soon as we got to Rome, it was the same. It was beautiful. So we've gone to England, France, Germany, Luxembourg, Belgium, Italy, Spain, Austria, the Netherlands. We've gone to Portugal. We've gone to Canada. And then my home island of Puerto Rico, we've gone there. So we've traveled a lot with them, and they have seen everything. It's just been beautiful. And we've traveled. We have driven everywhere in these countries. We've gone planes, trains, automobiles. It's been a fantastic experience. So we traveled, and then because of our travels, Clay and I have always been like, oh, this sounds really great. Like, why don't we just decide to get a bed and breakfast somewhere that we love whenever the kids leave, and then we'll go and we'll just stay there. The kids can just come to us, and maybe it'll be so enticing. It'll be a place that the kids and their families will just always just come to. And that's what our dream was. Every time we would go somewhere, we'd just look at different places, or we'd stay at bed and breakfast. We stayed at one that was fantastic in France, Normandy.
That's what our dream was. Is it still the dream?
you know what, maybe someday, maybe in the, because it evolves and it changes
Sure.
it, because, okay, now the kids are bigger than, what are they doing? And where are we going to really be? It might still be. So then we always thought about that. And then we were going to move internationally. 2020, we were going to move internationally. One of our businesses was international. We thought, okay, let's go there. Let's practice. Let's see what it's like. So we got everything ready to go to, we were going to move to southern France. COVID happened.
Oh,
Didn't work.
yeah.
And then so we decided, okay, then what, how do we make this work? Because while I was there, this whole food thing from the 30s had still been lingering. And I was thinking about it. And I was like, gosh, I cook for these people every day. We've learned a lot about food. I would love to learn more about it. Whenever we go to France, maybe you can take a class.
Yeah.
Then that didn't happen. So then whenever we were deciding what to do, I was like, okay, if we want to make it bed and breakfast, so what would sell it? Our marketing brains were on and our PR brains were on. We're like, what would sell it best? A mom and pop place, food, really good food. We really learned how to do it well. So we started researching, and he was like, and Clay was like, where would you go? Would you go to Sullivan? I said, no, I don't know, because it's a different type of school. It's not just, I've already gotten my degree. It's Sullivan.
Right.
So where did Julia Child go to school?
Exactly.
Where did Julia go? Cordon Bleu. Oh, let's look it up. Where is, okay, so there's a school in Paris. I said, they teach everything in French. I don't know, that's a good idea, because it would be hard to, I mean, that would be too much. They have translators, but it would be a lot. So we found the school in London and we looked it up and we prayed about it. And then I made an application and I wrote an essay, and he told me to hit send. And that's how it happened.
And you shared that on social, that I don't know if you shared the process from the very beginning, but after you were accepted, here's what we're doing. And you took us through that process. How long were you gone for the course?
Yeah. So we did 3 sessions because you could do it at any time. The beauty of this was that I asked, do I have to do this in a full 9 months stint like most regular students, or can I break it up? They're like, you can break it up. I said, perfect.
Nice.
Perfect. So there was a summer intensive, that first 6-7 week summer intensive summer. And then I went to another summer intensive the very next summer. And then the very last one is a 10-week session, and you cannot break that one out. It was only offered in the fall semester or the spring semester. So I chose the spring semester, and I was gone for a long time. I was gone for 10 weeks that time. And then so what we decided was that the kids would join me in May, as soon as the school finished in May. And then they would come and see me graduate in June. So that's what we did. So they came to join me in London. So they lived with me in London for 1 month. They went everywhere. They traveled everywhere while I was in class, because I had a lot of class. I had so much to do. They would just go everywhere, and they became locals, and it was fantastic. They loved every single second.
I love that. What an incredible journey that your children have been on, a foundational experience from the get-go. And then that's just a giant, beautiful bow on their foundational learnings.
Yeah, because it
Wonderful.
supported them to just know that, okay, so you can get a degree in X in your 20s, and then you can move on through your life in your 30s and do whatever you want. And then you can springboard into so many different things, and you can do whatever you want in your life and go wherever you want. I don't discount that we had the resources to do this. Of course, we had the resources and the time, and Clay said, go, I can take the kids, no big deal. That he has the ability to stay home and to work from home. Huge. That's not something that everybody can do. Not every
True.
husband would be like, oh, sure, honey, leave for 6 weeks and leave me here with the kids. I will take care of the rest of school and the rest of everything. Special man, right?
It was a unique circumstance.
Unique.
But at the same time, I think there are key elements. The taking your children and traveling all over the world isn't something that everyone can do financially. However, the foundational learnings that you then got to see in person, they can go to their local library and start to dig into actual books. Or there's, hi, the internet. Do you want to play games on the internet, or do you want to learn about art and history and culture? So now this leads into what you are doing now, your post 50 chapter that you are currently writing. Tell me about what you're doing with that beautiful degree and experience from the Cordon Bleu.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I was going to say was, okay, so the greatest lesson of the 40s was the importance of that education, that preparation, that enrichment of body, mind, and spirit. That, and segueing to the 50s,
Right.
that that life, that next phase, that life without parents, that life without my parent, my father just passed away in September. My mom, we just moved mom into hospice on Friday. So she has late stage Alzheimer's. So
I'm sorry, Carol.
those, thank you. No, it's just so moving towards that next phase. Now in our 50s, now it's time to give back. So that's Clay and I right now. We are in that phase where everybody, like I said, I'm kind of mom to everyone. It's been like that. It's just everywhere I go. It's just, I don't know why. Like you said, I don't know. People are drawn to me, maybe for that reason, maybe. But it's more of a giving back, of a teaching. So whenever everybody was asking me at school, what are you going to do with this? Like all the chefs were like, oh, Carol, whenever you go back home, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know that I want to become a chef in a restaurant. I don't know that's going to be for me. Maybe have my own place or doing something like that. But I've always been a teacher. I've been a teacher to my kids this whole time. And that just felt right to me. It felt right to me to continue teaching, to continue giving back. And I thought, I want to teach children. I want to teach children how to cook. And they were like, okay. So whenever I came home, I decided to just go ahead and start a cooking school. I was like, I think I'm just going to do that for kids. And I think that's the overarching theme of my 50s. I think will probably be that, more imparting knowledge, imparting my gifts that I have learned, all the things that I have learned through my 20s, through my 30s, through my 40s. And I think that's the overarching theme.
It makes perfect sense. So the Merriam-Webster definition of audacity, that or audacious, that I glommed onto when I read it, was I cherry picked just a few little lines, and one is intrepidly daring, and the other is marked by originality and verve.
Yeah.
When you think of those in your life post 50, what would be a goal or a dream or a moment even that would line that up for you?
I think that 50 plus. So these next years, my dream is I'd love to have maybe that bed and breakfast in the world. I would love to meet people from all over the world and invite them all to my house and feed them, meet them, feed them. I love feeding people.
Yes.
Love it, both spiritually, mentally, just all of those things. I love that whole part of it. I would love to have a shop maybe somewhere in the world that we love. I don't know where we're going to be. So here's the thing. Sarah Kate wants to become a veterinarian. Okay, so she wants to go to the Royal Veterinary College. This is her dream.
Of course she does. Like, why wouldn't she?
Why wouldn't she want to live in London, right? And we thought, oh my gosh, maybe we'll just follow her there and have a shop there. So I always thought about having a shop as well. Maybe having one of those wonderful grocery shops slash cafe where you live upstairs and you walk downstairs to your cafe. You open it up. Georgie, my dog, and I will just come downstairs, open it up, the fresh flowers in the front,
I'm there.
the cafe, and then Georgie and I meet you at the front door with a coffee and a French pastry and come downstairs, just meet our neighbors that just wander in and out of our life. And we just watch the neighborhood go in and out. Clay and I we close up the shop. We go down the street to the corner for dinner, have a glass of wine, have a nice dinner, whatever, have a coffee, walk with Georgie. Maybe we can just say, oh, our shop is closed for the next 2 weeks. We're going to go see Gabe. Or we're going to go find where Jude is in the world, whatever he's doing. We're going to go visit Sarah, whatever they're doing. That. Or maybe even have another room where we rent it out and serve them breakfast or serve them.
I'm seeing from your whole life, it's very relationship driven. So your relationship with God, your relationship with food, your relationship with your children, and your relationship with the world at large. And it's really beautiful to watch. And so I thank you again for setting such a gorgeous example, because when I saw what you were doing and I was following along as you were sharing your courses and what you were cooking and creating that day, I was just, I don't want to say jealous because that's usually a bad thing, but I was so happy for you. And I was just inspired. I was so inspired that I started cooking things a little more interestingly myself and taking a few more risks in the kitchen, which was fun.
Risks are great. Nothing's a
Right.
mistake in the kitchen. It's
Yes. But you always learn from the failure. You learn where to dial in the temperature or what is
failure,
too much paprika.
failure is good. I think that I've overemphasized being perfect in our home, especially because academics they're so precise, so intense. You
Mhm.
have to be so perfect these days to do, oh my gosh, anything. It's too perfect driven. But in the kitchen, you can play and you have to learn to fail because
Yes.
that makes you better. And then you learn from mistakes. It's okay. And
And,
that should
and
be our metaphor for life too.
and the act of sitting down at a table and breaking bread with
Yeah.
people you love, there's nothing better.
And even people that you don't even know. It's
People
wonderful.
you want to get to know and love.
And then you love them because they're like, oh, and then we share food and we share, gosh, their memories
Stories and
and their
experience.
stories. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
I've been there too, or that. It's just wonderful.
Okay, so I know that you are teaching people how to cook, specifically young people. Now is the time I'd love for you to give us your one ask. If there is a website you want to toss out there, how can someone find you? Are you on certain social channels? Oh, and I'll put all of this in the show notes, but tell us where we can find you.
You can find me at juniorcookeryschool.com, and everything you need to know is there. I am on Instagram at Carol Cologne Turner, but I'm going to make it the Junior Cookery School one. So I'm going to do that as well. And that's all coming. So it's all fresh and new and just very fledgling, but it's happening.
Awesome.
A few private dinners. And so that's on a very limited basis, but mostly teaching the kids and having private classes. Adults are welcome too.
You will come in someone's home and teach them
Yes, exactly.
prepare a meal, and which I think is beautiful, because it's one thing to read a recipe, it's another to do it yourself, but to have instruction one-on-one with someone who knows,
You're going to
then
be
yeah, you learn great habits from the get-go.
you're going to be cooking in your own kitchen. You're going to be using your own tools. I go in your kitchen and we use your own tools and your own stove. You feel more comfortable there. So I go into your place. I teach very basic things, but skills, tips, tricks, things like that will help you enhance what you already know how to make or different things that you would like to try. So you won't be scared to just throw in a little something. And it's just cooking. It's just cuisine. We'll do some baking, and baking is very precise. Baking is very much like chemistry. All the recipes are called formulas in
Yes.
baking. So, but cuisine is just add a pinch of this, add a dash of that, always, and just always constantly tasting it. How does it taste to you? What does it look like to you? It's beautiful, and the kids love it, and it's so much fun to watch them engage. Our classes are 3 hours long, and they're on it from the beginning to the end. It's fantastic.
Yes, I've always thought it was a good idea. If you're brand new to cooking, find one meal that you can
Yes.
execute with perfection.
Yes, your
Then
go-to.
you have something in your back pocket that if you have guests coming, you're like, oh gosh, what am I going to make? You have
Yeah.
that one meal that you know you can knock out with no stress.
Have something for the spring, have something for the winter. Have
Using seasonal vegetables from your garden.
have your beef bourguignon to just
Yes.
wow your guests. And then, yeah.
So, last question. I like to end my conversations with this final question. And you did inspire this question, because I've always thought about looking at the things that I'm interested in and who would I want to learn those things or
Yeah.
learn more intimately from? Who would I want to dive into that topic with? And so that's how I came up with this topic. But then the second half of this question was definitely inspired by you. So it is dream dinner party, table for seven. Who are you inviting and what are you eating?
Okay. I'm gonna look, I've got my
Use
notes.
your list. I know you've got one.
Okay, so because of my love of God, music, food, witty, romantic comedy movies. I love wit, great characters, and literature. I'm going to choose My favorite, Harry Connick Jr. I would love to have him at my table.
Okay.
He is fabulous. And I fell in love with him when I was in seventh grade. Love music. Julie Andrews, because she taught me how to sing. Before I became a PR person, I was going to study opera, which is, I was,
No small feat.
that's a whole nother story.
Sure.
And then Beth Moore, because I've been doing her Bible studies all throughout my 20s. And I just really she just taught me so much about myself and God and about our relationship, and then just having an ongoing relationship and a daily relationship. And Bible study was a huge, of course, Julia Child,
Yes.
the mentor, the one who just started it all. Jane Austen, my favorite author. And then on the opposite side, her modern version of Nora Ephron. I love Nora and all of her wonderful work that she made. And so I think they would get along really well. And I think so. Julia, since she is the master chef, then she's going to override this dinner and tell everybody what they're eating. So she would tell us that we're going to have saumonière. It's
I'm sorry, say that again. You're going to have what?
Saumonière.
Saumonière. Okay.
Yes. Saumonière. So since she is the chef, everybody's going to agree she's the master chef. Saumonière is a classic pan-fried sole with butter. A sole is a light white fish. It's often credited as the dish that ignited her passion for cooking. So it will be served with new potatoes or home vapeur. And the most traditional pairing with it will be tossed with butter and parsley. The potatoes would be. We'll enjoy them with green beans, steamed or sautéed, with a simple salad with a light vinaigrette. Very simple.
Love it.
For dessert,
of course,
because there must be dessert in everything. That's very French. You need to finish with dessert. It will be Julia's favorite, which is featured in her work prominently. She loves it. It's a classic île flottante. So it's that floating island. It's a lightly poached meringue island floating in a sea of rich vanilla custard. It's more or crème anglaise. And it's often garnished with caramel or spun sugar or almonds. Yeah.
Okay. I will be standing outside, fogging up the glass of your window and salivating. That sounds amazing. Carol, thank you so much for sharing parts of your story, for sharing your love of God, your love of food, your love of family. And I hope this isn't our last conversation that we share publicly, because we definitely need a little coffee chat, just the two of us.
I would love it. I would love it. Thank you so much for inviting me and doing this.
Love you, friend. Wish you all the most amazing success.
Thank you so much. You too.
This is Kristie Crenshaw. Thanks for joining me at the Audacity to Age, where becoming never gets old. If you'd like more stories, insights, and encouragement for navigating life after 50 with purpose and possibility, subscribe to my Substack, The Audacity to Age on Substack. And if you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow, rate, review, and share it with someone you love. Until next time, keep choosing curiosity over complacency and possibility over limitation. How will you be intrepidly daring, marked by originality and verve in life post 50? That's having the audacity to age. I'll see you soon.